As you can see, the title is quite controversial. The Muslims are going to be upset. I am not saying that Muslims knowingly worship the false god Baal. If you're familiar with the Old Testament, you will note that the main competitor for the worship and allegiance of the Israelites was the false god Baal. The name Baal also pops up in the New Testament under the name Beelzebub. If you read Mark, the Jews accused Jesus of casting out demons by Beelzebub, the prince of demons. The word Baal means Lord, husband, or master. This was the main chief competitor. The title is quite controversial. The Muslims are going to be upset. As you can see, the title is quite controversial. The Muslims are going to be upset. I am not saying that Muslims knowingly worship the false god Baal. If you're familiar with the Old Testament, you will note that the main competitor for the worship and allegiance of the Israelites was the false god Baal. The name Baal also pops up in the New Testament under the name Beelzebub. If you read Mark, the Jews accused Jesus of casting out demons by Beelzebub, the prince of demons. The word Baal means Lord, husband, or master. This was the main chief competitor that Satan used to get the Israelites to forsake God, their love for God, a devotion to God. In fact, Baal is simply Satan's disguise. Because if you go with what the Jews said, Mark 3:22-30, Beelzebub is the prince of demons. But the prince of demons would be Satan. If the Jews are right and Jesus didn't correct them, that means Beelzebub, Baal, is simply another name of Satan. Because there's only one ruler of demons, Satan. He rules the kingdom of darkness. All evil spirits are subject to him. So if Beelzebub is the ruler of demons, then that means that's another name for Satan. So that means Baal is simply Satan appearing as a god in order to mislead people from worshiping the true God. Now, if that's true, Allah is simply another name for Baal, and Islam is simply another form of Baal worship, then that actually further confirms Islam is the religion of the devil. It's Satan's religion that Satan inspired through Muhammad to be the competitor against Judeo-Christianity. And that would make sense, right? Because all throughout Old Testament history, the chief competitor to Yahweh was Baal. Right now, as we speak, the chief competitor, the chief religion competing for the devotion of the hearts and minds of not just the world, but of Jews and Christians is Islam. So it's like history repeating itself, the same lie, the same deceit, the same trickery being promoted throughout the ages, but under different disguises, repackaged. That doesn't mean Muslims know they're worshiping Baal. That's the deception. That's the deceit. Fact number one, Hubal was the chief deity, the chief god of Mecca and of the shrine, the Kaaba. Fact number two, Hubal was actually Baal. Hubal, and the Muslim sources will testify, was actually the Arabic name for Baal. Some people believe Hubal either comes from Hubal, he is Baal, to Arabic words, or it is an Arabicized corruption of the Hebrew words Ha-Baal, the Baal. The third fact, the sources don't come out and say it, but that's the logical, necessary inference. Hubal was Allah, Allah was Hubal. If you read, quote-unquote, between the lines, you're going to see Hubal was Allah, Allah was Hubal. Mecca, according to the Muslim sources, is the place where Muhammad was born, the Quraysh tribe, which was an Arab tribe that lived in Mecca. And according to the Muslim sources, he admits that the Arabs before Muhammad and during the time Muhammad were into astral worship, where they worshiped the sun and moon and 5 planets.